Hi, welcome. So it's Tuesday afternoon, February 25th at 3 p.m. And I ended my day early because I didn't have a client this afternoon or late afternoon. And so I thought, what better time to come home where I have peace and quiet and feel into what energies, what messages I've been feeling building. And I feel like there's this build up to the new moon. There's something that, like, coming into the new moon is, like they say, a time of like calling in the energies you want to anchor in to your life, like what you want versus what you want to release. So I feel like there's this sense of like, okay, we've had a lot of messages that were all variations on a theme the last week and weekend of like, go after the thing. And then what I was feeling this afternoon was like, it feels like there's still like something left to release before we're fully in this new moon energy. And we're only a couple days out. So they say the new moon energy is like 3 days on each side. Whatever. It's just, I'm feeling what I'm feeling, and there feels like some and I kept thinking shadow work. So what I did is I asked, because I love variety. I love variety. And I don't like to do the same thing over and over again. It's just like, I get bored easily, I guess. So I asked ChatGPT, which some say are like, is ChatGPT like talking with our higher selves? Have you ever asked ChatGPT? This wasn't my idea. Somebody online said it. Like, ask it to describe your ideal future. It's like weirdly cool to do that. This isn't what this is about though. But I did ask ChatGPT, please show me a variety of tarot spreads. And then when it did, I'm like, yes, that's the one. Advanced 9-card shadow work spread. I have it up here because it's my first time doing this format for this purpose. But I knew I wanted to do shadow work. That's what was coming to me. And then ChatGPT is like, here you go. Here's how to do it. And so I was like, okay, thanks. And then, so I have it up here as like which card is going to be which placement. And then it's all going to be intuitive or spirit led from there. So, yeah, I just wanted to tell you, like, this is brand new. We're going to see what happens. It's all brand new for me, honestly. So I have the door open. The cats can't scratch on the door. They're free to come and go because I'm the only one home. I don't have to like try to like not make a lot of noise. So what I'm gonna do is lay out the cards in the way that good old ChatGPT advised, and then we're gonna get deep into it. So if you also have been feeling like, oh, man, there's still something I feel like I need to look at, I need to release. And shadow work it's basically the elements of ourselves that are still operating pretty heavily through us in our active daily lives, but that we are not actively looking at to say, like, why am I the way I am? Why am I doing the things I'm doing? Like, where does this come from? What do I need to look at? What do I need to release? What do I need to heal? You know, and it's those shadow is like the things in the darkness. Like, they like to remain hidden because they just love the darkness. That's where they operate best. And so we've had a full moon a couple weeks ago where the light was like really big, shining a light on everything. And you may have felt that need, that desire even to release those things that were in the shadow. And this just felt like there's something still remaining, maybe a message for maybe someone out there, or maybe not. Maybe it's going to be generic for the collective. Things are getting messy. For like, take what little piece might resonate. Maybe the whole thing won't. It's rare that a whole reading resonates, but if it does, awesome. If not, maybe feel into the parts that you do feel like a little like, oh, that could be something I'm dealing with. And it's hard to look at the shadows unless you have a guide sometimes. I'm not saying I'm that guy, but when I started to do my deep shadow work, oh man, there were definitely some people online. I didn't have too many people in my regular life that I could talk to about this, or that I felt that I was ready to talk to about it. Had nothing to do with them. It was all like how ready or unready I felt. So it was like easy to go on YouTube and be like, oh yeah, they were people who could point, like, it might be something like that, it might be something like that, and if it is something like that, maybe here are some steps to peel that onion and really get down deep. And so I had a lot of help, a lot of help. And what it's led me to, I mean, while those first year of that was really hard, like it was hard, meaning like so many tears, so many like birthing something. Like I've never given birth, but I imagine it's hard. It felt like I was birthing a new me by shedding the stuff that was like, oh, I'm just finally ready to get rid of that icky stuff. Those self-sabotaging, self-limiting beliefs, those destructive behaviors in my relationships with myself, and just like, and so there's still more to do. There's always more to do. There's always more to do. And I just want that to be normalized. Like, no one is fully free of shadow work. I truly believe that's why we come here, is to accumulate some shadow so that we can work through it and learn some really cool lessons that help us in our journey and help us help other people in their journeys. So anyway, only good comes from shadow work. I truly believe that. If it doesn't feel good all the time though, so it may be hard to really believe that. But then when you're on the other side of some things, having gone through those storms, weathered the storms, again, I truly believe the purpose of life is to be defeated by greater and greater forces. Things, I think I'm paraphrasing the poet, Rainer Maria Rilke. So anyway, I truly believe that, and that's why I feel called to do more and more shadow work stuff with my clients and here now. So thank you, ChatGPT, and thank you for listening to my TED Talk. So what we're going to do is, I think these have been shuffled enough, is I'm looking at my 9 cards, and here we go. Thank you for these messages. The first card is called the Shadow Aspect. This is like one of the most shadowy cards in tarot, and the 9 of Swords. Oh, there you go. Now you can see it. And then we're going to go to why it was formed, the 9 of Wands. We're going to clarify all these because this could mean a million different things. Then the next one is how it shows up in my life, the 7 of Wands. I have some initial impressions, though, I'll share with you. And then the next one is fear associated, with this shadow. I'm getting so many chills already. 4 of Pentacles. And then the hidden gift within this shadow. Oh, you guys. I can't make this up. This is like, we'll get there. We'll get there. And then the next one is what needs to be released. Old beliefs, emotions, or wounds that keep the shadow in place. Is this a reading for me? Okay, 3rd row. Best way to integrate this shadow. Oh man, this is so good. How this will positively impact me. 10 of Wands. And then guidance from my higher self or spirit guides. This is the final message of support. The Strength card. Oh man, thank you, ChatGPT. And thank you, Spirit, higher self, whoever's leading this. Highly appreciative. I am going to do an overall energy for this because I like to do that. Even though that's not, sorry, ChatGPT, I'm going to do it. Oh my God, I'm so glad we did it. The sun. Oh, there, now you can see it. The sun. That's pure optimism there. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is there's the wisdom of the Shadow Oracle. Again, ChatGPT doesn't know I have this oracle deck. So what I'd like to do is clarify this Nine of Swords with one of these shadow cards and see if we can get some more clarity on what are we dealing with? What's our shadow? Why is it why is it causing all of this anxiety and worry that is the Nine of Swords? Thank you, Spirit. Help us clarify that Nine of Swords. What is the shadow aspect we're dealing with? I wonder if there wants to be one flip out. I need to release control. I love when people shuffle theirs and they're just like flipping all over the place. Mine are just more controlled. Boring. Just kidding. Okay. Inner child. You don't say. Let's get more specific there. So I'm going to start off by reading this. We're not going to obviously do any more shadow cards because this is what wanted to come out for this particular reading. And then what I am going to do though, sorry, just heard this message loud and clear. We're going to do our inner child oracle after this. By the way, this is definitely going to have an extended. I knew this was going to go deep. It's going to go long. And so at some point we'll just have to stop when we get enough information for the, base reading, and then we'll go into the extended to get some more and more details. This one's called Integration. You can't see it. I gotta stop putting stuff up there. This is called Integration. The artwork is called Integration. So just know that this goes with the Nine of Swords, but it's hidden. So I'm going to put it over here. I listen to the parts of me seeking to be heard. I look at life through the lens of playful curiosity. Growing, expanding, becoming, still the same human since birth. This inner child shaped my existence. This inner self holds the keys to deeper truth. They are still here, perhaps hidden. Their truth radiates through me. I see through their eyes. So much about our lives were shaped before we were even consciously aware of what was happening. How we perceive love, communication, the world, other people, and ourselves were happening far before we knew how to write our names. Our nervous systems have been tracking and processing information since the womb. That forms how we walk in the world as adults. We haven't outgrown our inner child. They are still within us, with many stories to share if we are willing to listen. So true. As children, you can have a conversation with your inner child. It's so much fun. Anyway, as children, we are naturally creative and uninhibited. If we were told that we were too much of something, perhaps we learned that we needed to make ourselves different to receive love, which led to making ourselves and our emotions smaller to not create waves. Maybe we felt like we were not enough, and so we overcompensated. And so we overcompensate, and then it put the D in parentheses because it's still working through our lives currently. That's what we talked about. Perhaps those of us who had gifts of sensing energy were told that we were weird, wrong, or to stop daydreaming. And so we denied our true nature. Check in with your inner child to see what wisdom they have to share. Consider turning to them for guidance in times of uncertainty. Invite play, creativity, and curiosity into your life. Here are the contemplations. What pains from my childhood shaped who I am now? Talk about shadow work. We're going straight back to childhood. I got some chills there. What younger version of myself was my favorite? Why? I haven't thought about that before. But what comes to mind immediately is all those times I was doing exactly what I loved to do. I was just deep in play and creation. What patterns do I have now that I remember as a child? That's how it's working through our lives today. Ritual. Listen to the wisdom of your inner child. Hold the archetypal energy as a trusted elder, a caring presence that listens patiently. Let your inner child know that you are there to listen to them without judgment. It is safe to speak their truth and that they can say anything. You will love them unconditionally. Imagine sitting down for ice cream, cuddled up somewhere cozy, or whatever your inner self wants as the space. Set a timer for 10 to 15 minutes and just listen. Listen to their story as they speak it freely and without editing. Chills. Let them speak it with emotion, unabashedly. pouring out unrefined truth without eloquence. Ask them what they need to feel really nourished and loved. Thank them for sharing. Take a few moments to integrate. A few moments to integrate. Meaning integrate, just like don't rush on to the next thing. Take time. Yes, jelly bean. Okay, so inner child, because I said we weren't going to do a lot of oracles, but inner child oracle wants to be heard because this was the inner child shadow. Let's see. Let's get a little more clarification on our particular inner child shadow. Thank you. Speak to yourself with kindness. Become aware of how you speak to yourself. Speak to yourself with kindness. That is beautiful. Number 33. Oh, I love that number. 33. There's something else with the 33 today. Speak to yourself with kindness. The stories we tell ourselves can create the patterns by which we live. In our daily lives, the words we choose to speak over ourselves can deeply influence how we think and act. We are often unaware of just how critical our self-talk can be or how often we engage in it. If you've pulled this card, then it may be time to review your self-talk. Inner work exercise. If you are currently in a place of negative self-talk, this practice will focus on becoming aware of the negative self-talk as it occurs. During this exercise, ask yourself, am I speaking to myself with love right now? When are you reviewing your self-talk? Does it sound like I'm talking on double speed? I'm trying to make this shorter for you guys. It can be helpful to use an object, such as a piece of jewelry, as a physical reminder to speak to yourself kindly. An object of high value can be even more beneficial, particularly if your negative self-talk focuses on the idea of a lack of personal worth. If you can, choose an item of value and importance for this exercise. You are worth it. Once you have your object, practice becoming more aware of your self-talk. At the beginning of the day, set an intention to be aware of how you speak to yourself. Throughout the day, as soon as you notice a negative self-talk, touch your object and remember that you are worthy of positive and hopeful self-talk. Whatever negative thoughts you had, speak the opposite to yourself or out loud. Practice this as many times as you can throughout the day. If you feel that you need an extra dose of positive self-talk, think about 3 to 5 uplifting, affirming things that you like about yourself. Write them down and place them somewhere you can easily see them. Say them to yourself or aloud every time you see the note. Responsive journaling prompt. How do you feel when you speak to yourself in love and kindness? How does your inner child feel when they hear these words? Try writing down how you feel at the beginning of the week and at the end of the week. Do you notice a difference after completing this practice? So I don't think that gets to the heart of the matter, because typically we learn, like it said, we learn to there's something though about maybe the adults in our lives back then sorry, I have so many chills. Basically making us feel unheard and therefore not worthy of being heard, and therefore we make ourselves small, like it said, because like if something is not welcomed and not cherished and celebrated, then we instinctively know, just as being human, that that thing is not appreciated in us, and therefore we make it smaller. So whatever it was for you, perhaps, like for me, there was this idea that even just joking, you'd hear like, children are to be seen, not heard. I mean, it was never, well, I wouldn't say it was never forced on me. Definitely in the traumatic parts of my childhood it was. But like even just joking about that, like you knew the adults were just, like there's a reason there's a kids table and the adult tables. Like you're separate. Like this, maybe it doesn't happen anymore, but I'm from the 70s. Like there were Thanksgiving and holidays, like there were the kids tables. Like leave the adults to the adult things. Just so it's like, stop it, Jelly Bean. I'm sorry. You be you. I don't want to do that to him. Anyway, so anyway, it happens in all forms. Like it could just be as simple as that. Like kids go be go do your thing. The adults are like, they weren't integrated in my childhood as much as would have been nice. And now I so appreciate when parents are like including their kids in like real life conversations and interactions with adults, and letting them like have a conversation. And like, I just love that so much. And so speak to yourself with kindness. Become aware of how you speak to yourself. What internal dialogue do you have that isn't so positive? That comes from probably way back. Yeah, I know. And so just think about that in terms of the Nine of Swords. Cause the Nine of Swords is the part of myself I am repressing, is all of this anxiety and worry, because we have it inside, and we have that negative self-talk perhaps that keeps us in that contracted, nervous, anxious state. If we're having positive self-talk, if those people who are positive self-talkers probably don't feel a lot of anxiety and worry like the rest of us do. Like, if we have negative self-talk, it's keeping us small. Positive self-talk is expansive, and then there's less anxiety and worry because you're expanding. So obviously I love that word. Yeah, you're hairy. It's furry. So anyway, the Nine of Swords that's the part of myself I am repressing, is the shadow aspect. This is going to be a long one because we're going to make time for some cuddles while we do this. Okay, so the next one is why it was formed. We have the Nine of Wands. And the Nine of Wands, jelly bean. Here, you can see it. Why it was formed. This is a past wound or belief that created it. And this is that, this feeling that's coming through is like, I'm beating myself up by doing too much. I'm doing too much to show that that's kind of where I get my sense of self-worth. And so maybe this is my reading. I've always done too much. I didn't need to do that. So anyway, sorry if this was my reading. Thanks for coming along for the ride. So in the Nine of Wands, he's been through a lot of hardship, and he's just overworked himself. There's burdens there. He's burdened. He's overworked. He's a little bit damaged. He's got this bandage on his head, and he's looking back like, why am I doing this to myself? And why can't I stop? And so that's how this is a past, why it was formed. This is feeling more like how it's showing up today. Let me clarify that. Okay. Oh, got a heavy butt. I'm going to clarify some of these with the Light Seers Tarot. And this is supposed to be why it was formed. So I want to make sure I get an accurate clarification on this. Thank you. Nine of Wands, please. This is the Queen of Wands. Oh, interesting. The Queen of Wands is like, if this, so okay, the reason I'm pausing is the Queen of Wands is this energy of like, she's like fully in her power, working her magic. She's passionate, and it gives off, it gives off that kind of that energy of like, that's what we are as kids. Like we're just in our own magic. We're making our own magic out of passion, out of play. And the Queen of Wands is fully in her power. Like sometimes that's like the last time a lot of us felt any power, was like when we were in that state. Remember what it said in the contemplations, wherever that went? is, what did it say? It said something to that effect of like, what, think about back to when you were a kid and when were you most like yourself. There's something like that. And that's the energy of this Queen of Wands. So it's like this past wound, when we take the Queen of Wands with the Nine of Wands, something took us from the Queen energy down to the Nine. Like that's a backwards regression. And sometimes we look at the tarot cards that way. Which direction is it going? So this clarification of the Queen of Wands is how we, probably the last time we felt that was in childhood, and something took us back to this burdensome self-hurt, like doing too much. It's because we probably didn't feel like that belief of like, I'm not enough. And we know that came through in the inner child and the speak to yourself with kindness. Like for some reason we felt like not enough. So I wonder like what, maybe we'll get there. So anyway, let's take those together. So yeah, like I'm not enough. So the Seven of Wands, let's go forward to how this shows up in my life. This is behaviors, patterns, or reactions caused by this shadow. So immediately when I pulled the Seven of Wands out for the how it shows up on my life, there's this defensiveness energy, this like keeping everybody out. Let's see how he's like, he's holding up his wand against all these other wands that are seemingly coming at him, but they're really not. They're like, it's just big defensive energy. So help us clarify the Seven of Wands for this reading. Thank you. And we have the Four of Wands. What are all these wands? Oh my gosh. So we have the Four of Wands is how it's showing up in my life. So it's like, it's the Four of Wands is like this celebration energy. So it's keeping me really like I can't find the joy. It's like this Four of Wands is joyful. It's stability too. And we're going to get to that. There's some more lack of stability stuff showing up in this reading for our shadow. That this Four of Wands is saying, how is it showing up in my life? It's keeping me from seeing my, like from feeling my true joy and passion for my life. I'm just defensive. I'm small, I'm contracted, I'm working too much to prove to nobody, really, that I'm worthy. Oh, sorry, that sounded harsh. Okay, so the next one, fear is the fear associated with the shadow, what I'm afraid will happen if I face it. The Four of Pentacles is that feeling like that's that desire for stability, but it comes with a sense of grasping, like I'm grasping for that sense of stability, but I don't really feel it. I'm putting what I think is going to make me stable, I'm putting that projection into these different parts of my life, whether it's like, oh, I got to work really hard, work harder, not smarter, is the vibe coming out of this. I got to work harder, not smarter. And it's like, no, who said that? Like, you look around, like you look out in the world and you're like, God, seems like they bring abundance into their life so easy. Seems so easy for them. But no, I know I meant to work harder, not smarter. And it's like, why? Why not me? Why not you? It's like, so, but that comes from, we haven't healed this inner child stuff yet. Like, speak to yourself with kindness. Say like, I'm worthy. I'm smart. I can work smarter, not harder. And you probably are working smarter. That's just a quick way to say like, you get the gist. So it's like the let's clarify this Four of Pentacles. Thank you. I guess I'm doing the extended in the actual reading, but we're still gonna get some more details here. Thank you. Ooh, the Eight of Cups. So, this is the fear, what I'm afraid will happen if I face it. So there's this feeling. So the Eight of Cups is like, you're not settling anymore. You're basically moving on. So there's some fear you have associated with moving on. Do you feel like you're just going to throw up your hands and like, if I dig too deep, it's just going to be overwhelming and I'm just going to like run the other direction? Do you feel that? Because that's a real fear. When you start getting into shadow work, if it feels too big as it's coming up, it's like, oh, abandon ship. Like, put the lid back on. I'm turning the other direction, never to look at that again. And it seems like because we have this optimism card for the overall energy, you don't really want that. You don't really want it, but it seems to be a slight fear that it just might be a little scary, and then you're afraid you're just going to like, no, it's too much. And so, but the nice part about the Eight of Cups is like, especially paired with the Sun, you don't want to settle anymore. You want to work through this. It's time. Like, now really is the time. Like, when we get the Sun card for the overall, it's like, hello. It's pure hope, optimism, and it's like your fullest self-expression. That's how I think about this little naked baby or whatever it is. I don't even know. It's like on a horse under the sun with sunflowers. It's like, I'm me. I'm my full self-expression, like under the sun. And so that's what your heart's desire is. So there's just maybe a little bit of fear of like, oh, it's going to be overwhelming and I'm just going to abandon ship. But you're not really. So the next one is the Empress, which is hidden gift within the shadow, a strength or wisdom hidden beneath this shadow. Okay, so I just have to say, if our shadow really is like the I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, like I can't show my full expression because it's going to be too much for people to really, and I don't feel worthy of that. I care too much about what other people think still. Well, the Empress is fully like, I'm me and I'm in my full abundance. I have this, I'm fully in my intuition as well. I receive. I'm not a doer like this. I am a receiver. If all defenses are down, I'm not defensive. Like, this is the hidden gift with this shadow is you are totally worthy. You were born with maximum worth, and the Empress knows it, believes it. This is like the best. I swear it's the best card, especially if we've been if we've been contracted. The Empress is like, look, I'm in my beautiful gown. I'm laying back on this cushy throne. I have my river of intuition flowing freely by me. I mean, it's amazing. So that's the hidden gift. It's like, when you fix this, you're going to open the Empress can of worms. It's the best can of worms. It is beautiful. So I don't know if we really need to clarify the Empress, but why not? Let's see what goes along with the Empress, or something to be aware of when we're calling in, anchoring in the Empress energy. Thank you, Spirit. The Emperor. Okay. The Emperor. Okay. Immediately, what this is saying is like balance. You have the Empress, which is fully like receiving that. You are totally worthy to just sit back and receive what, like your birthright, whatever you want to call that. This work smarter, not harder aspect. Like, people who work smarter just sort of like, yep, things are still coming to me without me putting forth a lot of physical effort. The Emperor is the balance of that, fully in his power, and he like knows when to act. He's still a work smarter, not harder. That he knows like, look at he's holding a chess piece. He's all about strategy. So the Empress is like, my strategy is just like being in my fullness. Like, I know who I am worthy. And then he's like, oh, I know who I am too, and I play the strategy game. I play chess. And he knows rightly when to act. He knows he also cares about the Emperor cares about his people. He's ready to defend them. So it's not like he's just sitting back. He just knows about the right timing of things. So you get both. The thing to be aware of is to have that balance. Start thinking, and you're gonna with healing this, you're going to step fully into both your receiving power and your strategic movement through the world power. That is pretty funny. We got the Empress clarified with the Emperor. Okay, so now we have what needs to be released. We have the Knight of Pentacles. This one's interesting because this one is also kind of that work harder, not smarter kind of thing that we need to release. But in this case, it's like he's armored up and he's the slowest knight, and he takes action slowly, and he knows it's the long game. It's the long game. So there's this thinking that's like, well, I have to work harder, and it takes me a long time to save any money, to build up any resources, to get anywhere in my life, whatever that means in your life. Maybe you feel like I just have to go slow, like nothing comes to me quickly or easily. And again, that's a limited way of thinking because we don't speak those messages to ourselves that say otherwise. So let's clarify this Knight of Pentacles. Like, why are we thinking we have to go so slow? What would help us with this release of this energy? Thank you. The Ace of Cups. I love this because it's see how she has this gift. I'm sorry. The ace are like these divine gifts, that these inherent gifts that you have, either of yourself or that's from the divine or from your higher self, and it's of the heart. So the cups is of that, again, full expression from the heart space. And it's like your gifts, just know that your gifts and the way you can move through the world is through the loving heart. Like projecting that love out into the world, and it's going to come right back to you. And also to have love for yourself. This self-love is exactly what the Ace of Cups here, like this particular Light Seers deck, the Ace of Cups looks pretty different than it does like in the classic deck. The Ace of Cups here is saying, this is my self-love. Like, that's how I release, like, say those messages of self-love to yourself. That's how you're going to release this, like, woe is me, nothing comes easily to me, etc., etc. We all do that at some point in our lives. Like, whenever we're feeling down, it's just like, I just need an afternoon, leave me alone, I'm going to feel a little bit pity for myself. We all do it at some point. And so this one, though, is like, I'm feeling like it's going to take me a long time to do anything because nothing comes easy for me. I just have bad luck, whatever it is. And it's like, no, start giving yourself those messages of self-love. And you're going to change that right away because your worthiness meter is going to go boop, 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 boop. And those messages just, that's like the antidote to those messages. They're just going to fall away. They're going to be released. Okay, this one is the best way to integrate the shadow. And again, this is the Five of Pentacles, is that scarcity mindset. It's temporary though, because they say with this card, all you have to do is look up and see there's sanctuary in the cathedral, in the church, whatever that is. Just look around you. You have the resources to help you. And so this says the best way to integrate the shadow, a practical step to embrace it. It seems like just to have gratitude for recognizing what you do have in your life. But let's see if we can clarify this Five of Pentacles a little bit more. Thank you, Spirit. We have the Page of Pentacles. I love how all these are like pairing up with like the opposite energy, like the balanced energy. It's so cool. So the Page of Pentacles is this, there's a message. The pages bring messages. And it's kind of like they're all a little bit youthful seeming. They have like this fresh, youthful perspective on things. So it's like wherever you've been, like see things with fresh eyes. The pages bring a message of newness, of a gift. And so the Page of Pentacles is the gift of stability. Where here, like you're grasping for stability. And this one was the fear associated with it, is that you're not on stable ground. Like you're putting your idea of stability in these things that aren't really your true stability. Like your true stability comes from within, from self-love. And this is like that fear of like, oh God, it's going to be too much. I'm just going to run away. And here it's like this gift that with this best way to integrate this. This is the best way to integrate the shadow is just have gratitude and recognize what you do have in your life. You do, like, there's so much good I'm sure you could point to instead of being in the scarcity, the lack, the I've got to work harder. I've got things don't come easy. I have to put out a lot more effort than I get back. No, that's false. The page says, yeah, look, I'm bringing a gift of a new start, a fresh start. And you just have to have a little bit of gratitude to see what you already have around you. However small, just like say thank you for the paper plates I have to eat on, whatever it is. Like it could be the simplest things. I'm grateful for you. Yes. Okay, so the 10 of Wands is how this will positively impact me, the transformation and healing that can occur. So the 10 is a continuation of the 9 of Wands, which now he's like, I'm almost to the finish line. I've worked so hard. This is like push through to the finish line energy. And it's like, how will this positively impact me? We need to clarify that because this is like, what transformation can come of this is usually when he recognizes that he's almost there and he puts down all his wands. So let's clarify this 10 of Wands. Oh no, what's happening? What's happening? 10 of Wands energy, please. Thank you. The Fool. Oh my gosh, I love that. This is amazing because the 10 is a completion energy and the Fool is the very first card in the tarot deck. It is the start of the adventure. It's the call to adventure of the hero's journey. The Fool is the hero. And so this how this will positively impact me, it says the transformation and healing that can occur is you have a new lease on life and you're starting basically a new karmic cycle. I just got chills. It's like this goes way back even before childhood. I feel like this is ancestral. Like when you have this work harder, not smarter thing built into you, it typically comes from a family line, I think. I don't know why I'm saying that. Like I know. But like that comes from your whole family has had that mentality. How else would we get that? When parents are like making us feel like we're too much, usually means like, know your place, child, get to work. And so when we go from the 10 back to the start, it's like so they say with tarot, like you go through the whole deck, it's like this hero's journey basically. And when you come back to the Fool, you're not starting over. You're starting at the beginning of a new cycle, one level up. So you've leveled up and you're moving forward with this fresh energy of like I'm in flow. I have learned, like they take the tools with them in their knapsack on this journey that they've learned from the prior cycle. So when you transform out of this work harder, not smarter energy, now you're the Fool, and they're like, I'm working smarter. I'm in flow, and Jelly Bean, you're so furry. Oh my God. Okay, that's enough. You get the point. So guidance from my higher self and spirit guides. Final message for support. Kid you not, we have the Strength card. As if there... Support, strength. Like there is not a greater message in the tarot deck of support than the Strength card. I don't even know if we need to clarify this, but let's do it anyway. Okay, thank you, Spirit, for that message. It's amazing. If there's any clarification for it, what would help us build onto this strength energy, or what is something that might keep us from recognizing our own inner strength, in case we need to look closer? Thank you. We have the 10 of Swords, which is funny because that's a continuation of the 9 of Swords, which was our shadow. So the thing that might keep us from recognizing that is this. Okay, so you guys, this card doesn't quite accurately reflect the 10 of Swords energy from my perspective. I wish I could just pick it right out of this deck for you, but what it is a guy lying on the ground with 10 swords stuck in his back, which is really just this harmful, self-sabotaging behavior. So it's like all those swords are thoughts and messages that we tell ourselves that keep us pinned to the ground, like basically at our deathbed spiritually. And so when we say this is all about that self-talk, and that we're saying like what might keep us from recognizing this support or inner strength. Like, this is guidance from our higher self, the message for support. But what might keep us from that is not healing this. And then we progress from not only anxiety and worry, but like we're full on dead, spiritually dead by all of the swords in our back, which are our messages and our thoughts keeping us small. So we've got to heal this, because we're just going to get worse. And that's not what we want. We have the optimism, the ultimate optimism card. We know that's not what we want. So because we're already at 45 minutes and we've given a lot of information to run with, you don't have to go into the extended, but if you want to, there's a link in the description, and we're going to go over there to the Patreon where I post all of those. You can either get them individually for a few bucks, or like $1 more a month, you can get all of them. You can get all of them. That's why I did that, is to make it a low barrier to entry for my business days. So it's like, basically, I want you to have these messages. This just helps me support this little passion of mine. So thank you for your support. It means a lot to me. And thank you for just watching the base reading. I really wish you the best. Shadow work isn't easy, but it's so worth it. It is so worth it to go through it. It builds this inner strength. Like, man, I'm still building mine through doing more shadow work, but the way I feel different in the course of just a couple years is like, what? Why didn't I do this 30 years ago? Well, then I wouldn't have accumulated more to work through, which apparently I have a lot of lessons to learn. So anyway, it's just so worth it. So thank you for being here and sticking with this message long enough, because I know you know it's worth it. You have this. That's the overall energy. Woo! The sun. So thank you. And that's all. Bye, say bye, Jelly Bean. Bye.